Hey, this is Simeon from PraiseTracks.com. And as I love to say, libraries, sample libraries are like destinations. But this one in particular is like a time capsule. I love libraries that have stories to tell, and Piano in Blue from Cinesamples definitely has a story to tell. And we're going to take a look at this legendary piano library today. Piano in Blue was like, if you look on the Cinesamples website, it tells the story of how someone was in a recording session and they realized that it was the last session before this beautiful studio was going to be torn down and converted into a modern condominium complex. The thing about it was that inside this studio, which was called Clinton Recording Studio, there was a Steinway D piano. And that Steinway D piano was the one that was housed in the CBS Records 30th Street Studios, otherwise known as the Church. Now, in this studio, in the 50s and 60s, the most iconic jazz and classical recordings were made in that studio. And just so happens, the Steinway D that was originally on Kind of Blue, Miles Davis and Bill Evans, the piano that Bill Evans played on Kind of Blue, the piano that Glenn Gould played on his Bach Variations, some of the most iconic and legendary jazz and classical recordings. That Steinway D was in the Clinton studio, and before they had an opportunity to tear the studio down, Cinesamples arranged to go and do a sampling session to preserve this beautiful piano. And this is what we have today in Piano in Blue. That's what we have. And it is just so incredible to be able to play an instrument that, virtually playing the same piano that Bill Evans played, that Glenn Gould played, that so many other just absolutely magnificent artists and musicians played, and the history and the years that are invested in the tones and the notes in this piano. It's what makes it very special. And it's just amazing to me that instruments carry something with them, something that you can't put your finger on. It's a sound, it's a feeling, it's an emotion. And that's why I love piano libraries that have a story, or any library that has a story. Just like with the Cinepiano, it had a story. And Piano in Blue has an absolutely marvelous story, and I'll have the links in the description below because, I'm discovering new things about it because, I learned about jazz in high school, and it was just an amazing revelation to me of all of this amazing music, and it just took me to totally different levels. And so as musicians, it is so important to learn the history behind the instruments and the styles and the great musicians that paved the way for us today. So we're going to take a look at Piano in Blue. It's very beautiful and very simple in the way it's laid out. And so let's just take a quick look at this beautiful instrument today. So here we are taking a look at the Piano in Blue inside of Contact, and you do need the full version of Contact to load this library. When you download the library, there are actually 3 different NKIs which refer to older versions, and I'm using the latest, the 2.3 version, where they were able to go in and clean up a lot of things and just continue to refine the instrument. So let's just take a look at what we have. We have 3 mic positions. They tried to set up the mics in as close as they could to the original recording, and so I have the close mic on right now and just not really tweaked anything. On the SL88, I did have to, I set the soft curve. It has that nice little slope in the middle to get some response, but you have an adjustment here to adjust the height, and when you bring it up, it's gonna adjust it, make it easier to, so you don't have to play the keyboard so hard. If you bring it all the way down, you're gonna have to dig into it a little bit. And then if you bring it up, let's bring it up here. And you can see the graphic change. So here we go. So it definitely makes a difference. And so, like I always say as well, there's a lot of things that I say a lot of times because it's very important. It's so important to get that velocity curve set just right because that connects you to your instrument. So you have a width control, and that also shapes the amount of, it kind of scales the velocity from the lower range to the higher range, and you can set that. And it's just worth the time to get that set right. So I'm going to just kind of bring it like this, because I love to have the soft notes, and I love to be able to just kind of lay into it a little bit. So I'm going to bring that height up just a little bit more. And you hear that warmth, just that nice warmth there. Okay, so that's the close mics, and I'm going to turn these off, and let's turn on the room mics here. The room mics. So these are the B&Ks. Just beautiful tone. Now let's listen to the surround mics. You've got 8 velocity layers per key, which lets you get down in there. So here are the big hall mics there, the Sennheisers. Yeah, that's kind of cool because it kind of pulls you out in that space. You've got a low and a high pass filter here to adjust it, and you also have adjustments for the pedal noise. So let's just take a listen. And let's turn that up a little bit so you can hear. Yeah, you hear that coming on. And so, just a little bit of that. And I really like the fact that they've kept the interface just very simple, very clean. You have like a reverb setting. You've got different presets for the reverb. Let's just do Berliner Hall and just take a listen to what that reverb sounds like. And I'm going to set up like a little mix here. Close mic, put a little bit of the room mic, and a little bit of the surround mic, a little bit of the far mic in there. So I'm going to turn these on, these other mics on, and listen to what the reverb sounds like. So that definitely gives you some really beautiful sounds, and you also have the time of the reverb. Down here, it's very interesting because they give you 2 signal paths with Piano in Blue. They give you a direct signal path of the mics run directly into the NEV console, and also they've given you a tape signal to give you that little extra compression and that type of thing. So you have a switch to go direct or tape, and it was on the direct. Now I just switched it to the tape position. Let's take a listen to what that sounds like. And what tape does, it just gives you a little crunchiness and saturation. You have a control here to add a little bit of that tape motor noise to get it really, if you really want to go vintage and classic. And you just hear that tape compressing and crunching, which is really cool. And over here, last but not least, you can actually go into, it's hard for me to believe that, really, it's that the early recordings were done in mono. There was no stereo until later, and even that was a novel concept at the time. But here you have the ability to go to a mono feed to absolutely get as close to that time of recording as possible. So this is what the mono setting sounds like. And I do have the reverb on, so that reverb might be, let's turn that off and just hear just without the reverb, just the straight mono. And I call these types of libraries, they just have such personality and such character to them. And yeah, you hear that widen up when let's see. Yeah, you just hear that just open up. You just hear the personality open up. And then like sound will take you somewhere. So tone and response and all of that, the colors, it always takes you into really interesting places when you're looking at these libraries. So, oh my goodness. So I thought we would have just a little bit of fun and just kind of go into two different types of styles. The first one, I was just kind of doodling around and just came across this. It's called Just Thinking, and so let's just go ahead and have some fun with this. hope you enjoyed that. It's just like that warmth and beauty and delicate sound that Piano in Blue has. You know, Piano in Blue is not what you would call a perfect sample library, but what it has character. It has just something with it. Even the inconsistencies, sometimes I've heard some other people mention about velocity inconsistencies and that type of thing. But you know, it is just those types of things sometimes that make it so interesting, and it gives you some little unpredictability, and it just takes you somewhere differently. It causes you to sometimes play a little bit differently or think a little bit differently. So let's go to another side of Piano in Blue, which is kind of more of the fun, upbeat, jazzy side, and I thought it was pretty fascinating. Man, what a lot of fun. So thanks again for joining me. And this has been just like I guess, a trip back in time, or like opening a beautiful time capsule with all of these great memories and great sounds inside of Piano in Blue by Cinesamples. And I hope you enjoyed watching and just having fun with me as I just discover and just enjoy playing and sharing with you. And if it's your first time, make sure you subscribe and click on those notifications. Just want to thank everybody for all their support, and thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time, and hope to see you real soon as we discover a new destination and new stories to tell, new music to make, and we'll see you soon.